I'm standing in front of the court order sale. It's a foreclosure, and this one is listed for $311,000. But let me tell you how the foreclosure works in Canada. So when someone stops making payment, then they go into foreclosure process. They do have the opportunity to fix the problem, to pay, refinance, and once the foreclosure goes in, they're given about 6 months redemption period. So during this time, the owner can sell the home on their own, they can refinance, they can pay the missing payments to the bank, so they have an option to resolve the situation. Once the 6 months, the redemption period passes, then the court takes over. But this only happens, this whole process, the keyword is if the owner has still an equity in the home. Means, let's say this home is worth $311,000 based on the bank appraisal, and there's only $200,000 mortgage, so there's $100,000 over equity for the owner. And what happens in Canada, the courts make sure that the owner doesn't lose the equity, so bank just can't take the home and sell it for $200,000, get their money back, and someone else makes a huge profit. Foreclosure do happens for many reasons. There's illness, there's a tragedy. It's not simply just person decides not to make payment, because it does creates the great financial loss. There's lots of expenses such as lawyer's fee, court fees, then it goes on the MLS, they have to pay the commission. So at the end, even there's equity, there's a lot of additional costs there otherwise wouldn't occur. So when there are equity and the redemption period is over, it goes into the court order sale, so the court takes over and has a full control, so nor the bank or the owner has any say how much the property sells for. So this is a big reason you don't see the foreclosures that are like super cheap and you just get them for whatever is owed, because the consumer and the people here are protected through the court system. So let me take you inside and just tell you a little more about how these properties are marketed and how you can actually go and see them. So we are inside the property, and as you can see, everything is left behind. So in many cases, people just leave and leave all their belongings behind, and the property then goes into the foreclosure process. Also on the window you can see the signs. They're from property management company. So they come in, they ensure the property is winterized, there is no further damage, water or anything. They keep the heat on, they maintain the sidewalk. So this is one more thing, how the properties are maintained and making sure they're sold for the highest possible value. I'm gonna go to the kitchen just to give you a little more idea how the property looks. So everything's just kind of left behind. This one, none of the lights work, so it's kind of harder to film here. We just hired a cleaning company to make sure everything looks really good for the photos. For myself as a real estate agent, it's a duty to make sure this property is sold for the highest possible value. Again, it's a part of the process where we want to ensure the equity goes back to the seller. So we are cleaning the properties, getting the professional photos taken tomorrow. Properties like this are on MLS, and they're easily available for you to see. You can see them in the description as a foreclosure. We are not allowed to again advertise them as a foreclosure because again, so it's not being devalued. But once you come in, you see these signs and talk to your agents, it's a court order sale. Plus they require you to buy it as is, where is, and then in most cases the court doesn't like to see conditions on your offer. So it makes it quite difficult for somebody with 5% down or first time home buyer to buy them. But as a buyer, yes, there are opportunities, definitely nothing like you see on the TV with US, but property like this, you can come in, make an offer, you take it on. Definitely it's already priced kind of lower than all the comparable properties, and you take on the project with the sweat equity, with repairs. We do have many of these listings, so if you're looking for a project, yeah, there are opportunities. They're not as huge as you would hope, but the property will sell for whatever the highest offer someone is willing to pay. So at this point, the property is out of the hands of the bank, out of the hands of the owner. So all the decisions are made by the court, and we as an agent make a recommendation. Then there is an independent appraisal for the property, and there's a process every few days, 30, 90 days. If the property doesn't sell, the price gets adjusted. But as you can see, all of the components, everybody who working involved, making sure the property is well maintained and sold for whatever market's willing to pay. So if you'd like to hear more about the foreclosure, feel free to reach out. I'll also include a link to an article about more details, and I hope you enjoyed the tour of the foreclosure home in Calgary.